An average Fulani man is crafty and very cunning in nature and would want to exploit and take undue advantage of every opportunity to his own advantage, to his own gain. Now, these are people who have different perception, who malign, criticize, and abuse the person of P2B, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. Today, look at what the son to Rufai is saying. Bashir Rufai is now making a U-turn because he considers that his father, being a Fulani man, could use P2B at this time to achieve whatever intention of returning the Fulani back to the Oval Office come 2027. There is no other reason why they are now trying to build an alliance with P2B. An Igbo man, a typical Igbo man, is being hated by the Fulanis. And this have shown up. We have seen this in decades of cohabiting. And it's quite very disturbing that Fulani, quite unfortunate, think that the Igbos are gullible. Indeed, they might be right, because it seems that P2B is not in terms with the realities of what is playing out within Nigeria. He thought he could trust a Fulani man, to pave way for him. It is quite very unfortunate, and that is considered a political suicide or blunder for P2B, thinking that his alliance with the North, with the Fulani, will work as far as he is an Igbo person. Their perception about an Igbo man cannot change, including Nasir Rufai and his own son, Bashir Rufai, has been antagonizing the Igbos, and quite surprisingly, this is what he has to say. P2B is surprisingly not a bad person after all, because he is a willing tool that could be used to achieve the collective objective of the Fulanis, to make sure that a Fulani man returns as the president of Nigeria, of course with the collaboration of the likes of P2B, who do not understand or of course learn from history. It's quite unfortunate. The people that dumped P2B, rigged him out and made everything possible to frustrate him, to make sure he did not scared to, because of being an Igbo man. P2B tends to forget. It is quite unfortunate, as my people do say. How many times will something happen to you before you learn? It appears very clearly that P2B is not learning. Worst comes to worst, he will be dumped finally, or be used as a VP, as they are now suggesting that P2B is not a presidential material, rather could not superintend over a Fulani man. He should be used as a VP. Of course, you know, the office of the VP in Nigeria is more or less like redundant and inactive. It's just a mere portfolio that does not even move a fly, as we have seen in the case of Osibanjo and the rest of them. A southerner that was silenced by a Fulani man. He never gave him chance to express himself. The same thing will not change, of course, because it runs in the mind, in the blood vein of the Fulani. So for anybody who might be thinking otherwise, well, let's read out what he said. P2B is surprisingly not a bad person at all. After all, my view on him, you see it? You see? My views on him have changed recently. You see? His view on P2B has changed recently. My mind was poisoned by my former party members. My mind was poisoned by my former party member. Who is his former party members? Referring to APC, as his father has defected to Social Democratic Party in pursuance of the collective interests and goal of a Fulani nation or caliphate to return to power. They believe that power belongs to them, and you know what that means? Absolute power corrupt absolutely, just as we have seen during the 8 years dispensation of a Fulani man, Buhari. It is quite horrible and very an issue, an experience unforgettable as far as Nigerians are concerned. But he said his mind was poisoned, which means the word poison means he has killed any interest, any love for P2B, an Igbo man. So if your heart is poisoned, how could that heart, a poisoned heart, be survived? He said recently, it is not true. That is fallacy in the highest deception, in the highest order. That poison remains there. It have even eaten your heart up. You have no any reserve or any part of your heart where you can accommodate or change your perception, ideology about an Igbo man. It is settled for life. So all these shenanigans and all these rhetorics are just to deceive the lives of P2B, to fall into the trap and use, of course, and eventually be dumped. P2B have not learned lesson, and unfortunately may not be learning the lesson even at this time. But whatever be the case, of course, if he does to damn the consequences, whatever he sees, he takes. But the likes of Bashir Rufai is not somebody that could be trusted based on his previous perception. He said his perception or views about P2B was changed recently because of the arrangement or coalition and the consultation that is going on. Perhaps P2B might be very gullible, in quotes, to surrender his conscience or whatever, consent or support to them, not knowing that he will pay dearly for it. Because the likes of Rufai, Kwankwaso, who even have expressed that there is no way P2B is qualified to be his boss, that the only positions that could be considered for P2B is the VP, while he remains the president. He can't be a vice president to P2B. That was what frustrated the previous coalition that would have been reached or agreement. They said, no, a Fulani man can't be your subordinate. You know, you have to be subjugated. You are born to rule, of course, as far as Fulani man is concerned. And eventually that did not work, which gave Ahmed Bola Tinubu, of course, the opportunity to do whatever, of course, has become a history today. That is quite interesting. So history, if it failed to learn from history, history will definitely repeat itself. So whatever Bashir is saying against P2B, or whatever he think he have changed his mind, we understood that he can't change his mind as far as an average Fulani person is concerned. Their perception about peoples cannot change, or perhaps they are seeking opportunity to achieve or actualize the conquest, and they will always use the willing tools or vessels within the South to accomplish that. That has been the case, of course, why they are succeeding sometimes. You see some persons will be asking, indeed, and that what has an Igbo man benefited under Tinubu? Invariably, of course, probably nothing at all. Igbo man have not benefited from the administration of a Southerner eventually becoming the president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Rather, Igbo has suffered so much loss, suppressions, intimidations. So more people have been killed within the Igbo territory than even the times of Buhari, who could not hide his deep hatred for the Igbos, describing them as a dot in a cycle. That notwithstanding, we never experienced such level of casualties, killings going on. Look at Okwama, which is within the Igbo territory. Look at what is happening in Imo State, Enugu, Anambra, and the rest of them. Is quite horrible under the watch of a Yoruba man or a Southerner. But we have to consider beyond this. What do we need? What do we need to solve this problem of Nigeria? It is not about who becomes the president. As far as this current political template or configuration is sustained, of course, which some legal luminaries or constitutional lawyers have described as a mere debris, a mere illegal document, a false document. Of course, this will not change. The only way is to reconsider the continued existence of Nigeria. These are the fundamental. Just as Nigeria expired 2013 after the 100 years amalgamation treaty, Nigerians or the ethnic nationalities should have converged to discuss the way forward, the continuity of Nigeria or the disintegration of Nigeria in the interest of all ethnic nationalities. But that was not done because of vested interests and, of course, the Western interference, like the British and the rest of them, over the oil in the East. They want to continue holding on to those oil and other resources because they are cross beneficiaries of this. Otherwise, Nigeria has no reason to be one entity, because in terms of diversity in culture, religion, ideology, way of life, and the rest of them, there is no homogeneity, unacceptable, of course, grounds for Nigeria to be one. Better still, be balkanized and let everybody go and manage their resources, address their own peculiar issues, and chart a way for themselves. That is the only way an able man could be secured. Having his own nation, Biafra, but Fitobi seems to be living in self-denial and deception. Perhaps another event might taught him the bigger lesson. Let's have your own take regarding this development. That Rufai is just an opportunist seeking the relevance and the interests of the Fulani Caliphate and nothing more. If he dares eventually, of course, deceive the gullible ones, well, only time would tell the level of damage that could be done. But whatever be the case, let's have your own take regarding these developments or reactions over these issues. Igbos have not benefited, not even during the Buhari's time, not even within the, of course, 2 years or so, close to 2 years of Tinubu's administration. Rather have suffered so much, even in terms of life, the loss of life, economic disaster, and the rest of them. So why should Igbo, of course, align with the Fulanis, not even the Yorubas, who has failed them woefully? So it behoves on the people who are still gallivanting, thinking there could be a solution to this country, except the foundation is revisited, because the scripture says, if the foundation is destroyed, what shall the righteous do? That is quite an obvious truth and realities people are living in. And trying to deny, but the more you try to deny, the more the realities keep staring at us. Not until we sum up courage, balkanize this country in the interest of peace, progress, and preservation of humanity. Well, that is my own opinion. Let's get your own reactions regarding this development and what you think would be the way forward. But I am very much sorry for P2B aligning with the Fulani man. Of course, he could not be safe even either aligning with Tinubu or the Yoruba man. So, where would you fall? It is time, of course. This has fallen apart. The way forward lies on you.